ice. Men are from Mars, he tripping, I put that on guard. I got the digits, but I am not calling. Wizard at night, this be that forum. I'm still stacked with that. Sunshine after that. I'm still stacked with that. Sunshine after that. So yeah, you know, I had a conversation with her, but it's like the signals is always crossed. I mean, like, I say yes, because she asked me to say yes. And then she's like, I didn't want you to say yes. I wanted you to understood that a yes was required to answer the question. I was like, what?
Happy Hump Day, everybody. Welcome to the spot, the Stacked After Hours spot. I am your host, Natalie Cosby, and welcome to the show for Grown Folks Talk. So, tonight we are talking about what is feminine energy, his point of view. We have an all male panel, it's going to be lit. So, y'all, and we have a competition tonight. Best question, best comment gets a prize. So, and we will announce it at the end of the show. So make sure y'all comment and keep those questions coming in for these gentlemen, because they're going to take us to the edge like last week. So y'all get ready, get those cocktails to keep those fingertips loose, because here at Psy, we keep it what is always lit and enlightening. So let's get into it. Let's bring in Sunshine.
Oh, this is my favorite.
Fairy dust back, girl.
Ow.
Sunshine, you looking mighty hot tonight.
Oh, thank you, girl.
Got a little sunshine on. You looking cute.
Feminine energy. I'm bringing the feminine energy out tonight.
Okay. So yours comes in black and sexy. Mine's in flowers and a little shoulder action. So
there you go.
You bring that. So Sunshine, somebody asked me this, like, who came up with that topic? I was like, actually I did, because I felt like it was important for us to kind of really get a man's point of view of what they are receiving from us in our relationships. Well, when they meet us, whether meet us, work with us, love us, whatever. And then how have their ideas around femininity has formed.
And just to be, honest and forthcoming with the femininity. Every time we spoke to a guy on this show, one of the number one things they always say is that I want a feminine woman, a woman who exudes femininity. And so we're like, what the hell does that mean? And in doing all the research for this topic, it's pretty much everyone has their own definition of what femininity is.
So what is your definition? What does femininity look like for you, in you?
It's my inner persona. It is how I care, how I caress. It's not sexuality, but it's my sexiness. And it is not sexual, but it's how being a woman makes me feel. And I love being a woman. I love how my skin feels. I love how my lips feel. I love how my body feel. I love being a woman. So my femininity to me is pretty much a feeling. It's your womanly, it's your feeling.
I always call it our womanliness, when we can be our vulnerable true selves. To me, that's what, for me, and the funny thing is that's different for everybody, right?
Different.
But I think it's really understanding what you have in like your tangible body, like how we are built and all that other stuff. But on top of that, the energy that we present, how we actually move through life to kind
And
of
so,
what
and
we
so,
somebody said, let's go, Miss Sealy vibes. Is it passive? It may be. Is it powerful? It may be. I think it's one of those essences that it's our magic. I mean, to me, our femininity is our action. It's my magic when I really understand
absolutely.
what it is. I think a
And
lot.
I was gonna say a lot of women don't know the power of their own femininity.
When did you discover the power of your femininity?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that because I was trying to think back today about when did I discover my true feminine, my inner femininity.
Hmm.
And it was when I was doing engineering. I was studying electrical engineering,
I
and
study the feminine. Well, I'm not gonna say it's not feminine, but it has a lot of masculine energy in it. Thank you, Reed.
yes, it does. And I'm glad you mentioned that. So, being a minority studying electrical engineering with mostly men in class, I was telling you that I pretty much got to be in a class that I probably haven't never done any of the work because the guys was helping and doing the work for me. So it's not, I mean, it's, and I didn't have to offer anything sexual or anything like that. I just realized that, oh, they want to help me. So, okay, I will take it and I will use it until I got my passing grade. I mean, I took advantage of it, and that's unfortunate, right? But sometimes we just don't know the power of our own femininity.
It's so when I think that there's a journey with femininity. We're born and we're conditioned to be certain ways. And Marie just asked an interesting question. She said, "What if your true femininity? I think is you're more masculine than you are feminine." Growing up, I was
Mhm.
very much a tomboy. I lived on the street. Thank you. What if your true self, your true feminine self, is more masculine? I think that was probably me in my formative years. I had, and but my feminine energy presented with my father until my parents started to part. Now that I think about it, and then so therefore, my feminine energy I feel like was really in an interesting place. And when I think about it, I was like, it took me a minute because I was competitive with boys because I was constantly playing with them. But in the same token, I liked them. But it was very like we were,
And
we
you
were
want,
bumping heads.
yeah.
Yeah. And then also the first person, I think our first love in an ideal sense is our fathers.
It
Correct.
should, yes,
So when that
absolutely.
relationship starts to break apart because of a divorce, you're like, what, well, maybe I just need to be more aggressive. And I'm just going to take that in trying to keep them. So I realized I don't think I really discovered my feminine power until I was 28. And it was a reckoning with my father that helped me
Yeah.
kind of reconnect to that. I mean, it's
And
late, but that's real.
and I also wanted to talk about like the workplace, your femininity in the workplace. I think there's a lot of misconception that you can't be feminine and still be run a tight ship. And
Hmm.
the expectation is that if you're a woman, you can't exude your femininity because femininity is soft. We cry. Yeah, it's soft, but that doesn't mean that we still can't get the point across,
But it's
right?
also like, well, I guess with our anger, it's called irrational. We're emotional. We're erratic. Things like that. And I always say, I wonder, as Black women, specifically Black women, has our femininity truly been embraced in a way that has been palatable for ourselves, right? I mean, like,
Gosh,
even when I think about my body and being in, like, my mother was just like, I've been looking like this probably since I was 9, like
yep.
booty and breast and
Shit.
everything, right? So it's just like, girl, hide that, hide
Yes.
all of that, because somebody's going to take that from you.
Yeah. And you're wondering, right? Your peers are wearing the same things that you're wearing. And you're like, well, why you keep telling me to cover up? They don't have to do it. I have to do it. Why? Because you got the lumps and the bumps that could probably be deemed as being overly sexual at a young age.
Somebody said, wow, I absolutely disagree with what you ladies are defining as feminine energy. Maybe this subjective topic. Okay.
Right. Well, I mean, like I said, feminine energy and femininity is defined very differently
for everybody.
Everybody.
For
Yes.
everybody. So let's see what the men have to say. Let's bring them on in, shall we? Come on, Jay. We got Jay tonight. Jay, let's bring him in. All right. So we're about to do a quick round robin of our panelists. Lord have mercy. This one's going to be a little lit. So new to the show, we have he is a trainer. He is my trainer, and he's ex-military. Let's welcome new to the show, Jason Quick. Hey, say hey, Jason.
Hello,
Next. Hey, Jason he had to pull the car over to make sure that we see him and so we can get his feedback. Next, we have Mr. Todd Dumas. Hello, Todd. Welcome back. 1911. Yes. Hello. And then finally, we have, of course, our rambunctious liberal Black Power Gordon Parks, my ex co-host. He's a panelist. I made him my co-host. Gentlemen, we're gonna jump right into this. We've been talking about, Kevin Samuels had his idea about feminine energy. Men are always talking about feminine energy. What is feminine energy for you in a relationship or when you meet women? What do you exude? What has been your experience? I'm gonna go ahead and start with Jason first since he's new to the show.
I would say feminine energy to me is a woman who is open, who is transparent, who is accepting of the masculine energy, and understand that feminine energy is very dynamic. It is very flowing, and it has the power to create and it has the power to destroy. So with that, it has to be balanced with a dominant masculine energy. And once a woman feels safe in her space, then she can play her role. But it's been too many times where the woman is playing both roles of the feminine and the masculine part, and that's where the imbalance occurs.
All right, cool. Whitney?
You can hear me okay?
Yes, hey, Jamie. Jamie is also part of the panel. Go ahead, Whitney.
I tend not to think of it so much just in the strict sense of feminine energy. I just think of it as, is it complementary to whatever a guy's energy is? And, depending on the kind of guys you date, if you're, dating a certain a powerful kind of guy, then your energy needs to be powerful, yet at the same time accepting of his energy and complementary, so that it doesn't butt heads with that energy. So it's hard to describe it as one thing or another, because like you both said earlier, women think about themselves in so many different ways, and they come to the world in so many different ways. And so I think you just need to be pleasant, comfortable, and still powerful with whoever you think that you are.
So Whitney, what was it for you? What is feminine for you specifically? What does that energy look like for you?
I mean, see, without calling it energy, I would say that when it comes to femininity, like perfect example, some guys like what they call natural women who are, maybe the locks, maybe no makeup, clean face, a bohemian type style. And some guys like myself like production, high heels, makeup, face beat. That's my thing. Lashes, the whole thing. And so that level of, not the lashes these young girls are wearing that look like this long. No, that's ridiculous. But just, makeup done. And femininity in their sex appeal, in their approach, in their presence. And so I like sexy in terms of their feminine representation.
Okay. All right. Todd, and then and Jamie and that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the production of femininity that Whitney's talking about, but I think I tend to kind of break it down to more when you take off all that, what is it? What are you getting when you wake up in the morning? And for me, it's sort of personally, it's sort of unselfish sensitivities and sensibilities. It's about thinking about the other person as the other person thinks about you, not an I, but a we, right? Like I tend to date a lot of women that are like, what can you do for me? What are you going to do for me? How do I feel? That's not femininity to me. There's a certain nurturing in femininity that I think is getting lost, as we move through generations. And so there's a production of it. There's the sort of essence of it. And then there's kind of the idea of it. And I think we just have to define what we're talking about.
Okay. I like that, Todd. Jamie?
I agree with the gentleman that just spoke. I believe that feminine energy comes from within. I believe that who you are without the makeup says more about femininity than anything that you can put on. I mean, let's face it, makeup is a mask. It's used for deceptive purposes. It's not really who you are. Who you are is without that makeup, and who you are is soft but strong. And I would venture to say that stronger than what most men would really understand. I believe you have to know yourself, know your own strengths to kind of manage that situation. And in short, like I said, I think it's more about who you are, what you're comfortable with, what you allow, without all of the glitz and glamour.
Okay. All right. So, gentlemen, when me and Anthony were kind of talking about this, I was like, what were y'all's representations of femininity growing up? Because I feel like that kind of sets the mindset of what y'all want now. I mean, things have evolved, but when I think about the images, and I'm gonna have Jay kind of bring them up. Besides your mother, I know your mother probably in some form or fashion said that, but the things that we saw in media growing up, and I think we're the generation of just TV. And when I think about Florida Evans, Claire Huxtable, and I know these are random people, Claire Huxtable, and I was just thinking of mothers and women. Some people say Thelma of Good Times, but and even Wheezy. And then when we get to college, we have people like Gina and Pam. What are those? Let's start with what were the things that kind of been like, okay, this is the type of chick I want. Go ahead, Jamie.
Those women, however imperfect some of them were, whether it's Florida Evans and her overly idealistic ways, I mean, I think they were all supportive. So I think that when you think growing up, seeing those images, you think support. Weezy Jefferson, once again, always erring on the side of caution, maybe very pragmatic in a sense where it's maybe a little bit overly pragmatic. That's good for television. But at the end of the day, you got to feel that they were really there for their guy and they were supportive.
Mm.
So look, could I just ask a quick question? And I think Whitney mentioned it earlier on when he was talking about femininity. And the expectation is that the man is going to lead and he's going to have, the power in the relationship, and the woman is the support. And that I am 100% supportive of, if I feel, and I feel like a lot of women think the same way. We feel comfortable being the supporting role if the guy can actually lead.
Yeah, but what does that really mean now, right? Because there's been a lost kind of contractual construct between men and women
Right.
over the last 30 or 40 years, right? There was an implicit understanding, I provide, I lead, I provide pecuniary benefit to the family and to you, and you provide me with, a
Support.
person at home who supports the family and does certain things, right?
Mhm.
That has been lost, right? So what hasn't been put in its place is a new contractual understanding between men and women.
Mhm.
So now you guys want to go out and make your own money and be your own person and do all these things. And what has been lost is you still want us to provide, protect, and be there as leaders. So the question really is it's kind of a non-starter when you think about it. It's really I would say it really gets turned back to you. Where is the femininity for you in a relationship these days? What are you providing as femininity these days? Because you do feel like there's a certain amount of I don't know, armor, whatever you need to go out into the world to get yours. And then when you come home, you don't take that off.
Mm.
Maria, I think Quad Storm, she's like, Black women in America. I think the thing is like, have we really had the space to really be feminine? Is it something that we even have an opportunity? We've never really been put on a pedestal. I don't think. I'm not saying we haven't, but the pedestal has either been sexualized, or it's about it to me. It's always, I understand what you're saying, Todd, but I feel like our energy has we've always had to waver because we've had to take care and take care. And it's like I don't know if there's a space where it's like, who's going to take care of us?
I just want to kind of go back to what Todd's saying. I don't think everybody want to work and earn their own money. I would love to be like a housewife if you're going to provide that space for me to support, to support and all that.
I understand you want that soft life. I'm asking, what is it that you are? What I understand you want the soft life.
No, not
and there are
me.
many women that want that. The question is, what are you willing to provide within that understanding as a feminine woman, or as just the woman who's being provided for?
I guess my question, what does that look like for you guys? What does she have to have? Whitney, you're on mute. You're on mute, Whitney.
Oh, why am I? Did I mute myself?
Now you're not on mute. You were echoing.
Yeah.
That's why.
I would say that in 2023, there's a new balance. I mean, it's been this way for a little while. We live in a world now where women make, in a lot of cases, as much money as men. And there's a lot of reasons why that's happening in America, and we won't get into all of that. But because of the financial leveling, the old idea that a man is just the one that works and takes care of the house and the woman is at home and a homemaker, that's pretty much dead. That's just over. So I think the new question is, how do you balance people who both work and who both make income, and then in a household that do you consider a man a traditional head of the household, and how do you handle that? And are you still a powerful Black woman and, capable in the world, but still comfortable, allowing your man to lead in the house? Those are some, there's real fine lines in there. And I think that the argument that's been out there for a while now in our community is, have women been empowered financially so much that the role that they traditionally might play in the house, where they are what the term people use, submissive. I mean, it's an old term, but can they still be that? And I think that is that's the real conversation that people are having now when they talk about feminine energy and, what do you bring to the table and all those conversations. It's, what is the balance between the emotions and the interpersonal relationship after we deal with the fact that the money may be to some degree equal? And I personally will say that men for a long time have been earners. I think women are new to being earners. And I'll personally say that I think a lot of women struggle with the power that comes with it. And a lot of women get puffed up and, then are hard to deal with because they lead with the idea that the money makes me powerful. Men have been living with that for a long time. We almost assume that the money gives you power, but I still have to be a certain kind of person in a relationship. I still have to be a leader, and I still have to be supportive, and I still have to be, when you are leading in a certain circumstances, able to be a follower. So that's the real conversation I think we're trying to get to, I guess.
It is. It
so
is.
To that point, Whitney, do you feel like men have pivoted better than women in this new construct, in this new paradigm?
I think the whole thing is really tough. I think it's tough, and I think that the relationship dynamic in our community right now is really bad. And I think that what's happened is an overcorrection. I think that women have over-identified with power and having financial means, and then turning that into, I'm doing this the way I want to do it, and that's it. And that's leading to a lot of single women and women wondering, why am I not married? And not understanding that you may even unconsciously be signaling things that guys find uncomfortable. And so there's that, but then there's also a lot going on right now in our community with like just the over sexualizing of women, and everybody getting work done, and how hot am I? And then if you're super hot, then you're winning, and if you're not, everybody's, oh, I'm on vacation, I'm out here, I'm doing this, and look at me, I'm so hot. And that thing is gotten a hold of our community as well, and that's a tough one right now.
Somebody asked, I would love to hear the men to define what it is to be a man that deserves a feminine woman he desires. Deserves the feminine woman he desires.
Be a good dude. I think it's just to be a good dude. I think there's a lot more good men out there than women say. That thing, oh, there's no good men. I think that's, people go out on dates and they're like bad on a date, and then they come home and they call their girlfriend and say, ain't no good men. And the guy was across the table thinking, God, you're terrible. Like, I don't like your attitude, and I'm never going out with you again. And so there's that kind of thing happening too. So there's a lot going on.
Well, let me ask you guys, what do you feel like what are women misunderstanding about what you guys see and how you guys are moving and why you're moving that way? When it comes to just like you said in Whitney, like I had a conversation with someone, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting how you perceive his point of view, but maybe he was turned off by how you presented so much as a situation because you pivoted from him to go to somebody else.
I'll let somebody else jump in.
Yeah, I think, in my humble opinion, you really don't have to complicate this thing too much. You got to really break the basics down and make them more basic. And I really blame, in these days and times, social media. Social media has really portrayed this pretentious lifestyle, and it really made it hard for the honest, hardworking man, the one who's blue collar, the one who will break his back for the female, and she doesn't respect that at all. And he's not into any wrongdoing. I mean, he's just honestly making his living the right way, you know, as the phrase goes, you know, dirty hands, make, clean money because he's in the grip, he's in the grind. And some of the women who seeing all the flash and pizzazz, they want that, but it takes time to get that. You just don't meet somebody and expect, this person to have, 6, 7 figures. Sometimes you got to be there in the pits with him to support him, to nurture him, to pour life into him, and that's the part that we want to see a woman. We want to see more softness, because when we out there in the field, we're going through hell all day long, and the last thing we need is to come back home to a war zone. Me personally, I've been deployed 3 times in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I don't want to come back home and feel like I got to fight all over again. I want to be able to come into a safe space where I can lay my weapon down, put my shield over here, and fall into a space where we can converse, we can talk. She can listen to my ideas and I be considered. And she understands where I'm coming from, and she can actually help me with my thought process because I may look at something different and she gives me a different take on it. Because women are multipliers. As it says before, if you give a woman a house, she'll make it a home. If you give her groceries, she'll make a meal. If you give her love, she'll give you children. And if you give her grief, she'll give you hell, right? But we as men, we're looking for the positive side. We're looking for, not the yelling and screaming. I mean, me, I don't do that. I can't yell and scream anyway, so I just stand there and look at you like you're crazy. I mean, are you finished? Are you done? Then we can talk and have a normal conversation. But as men, I believe that I am the rock that her emotional waves can come crashing into. And once she understands that I provide that safe space, then it just perpetuates a continuum. So my thing is, it doesn't matter who goes first, just as long as it gets done. Like I say, you don't have to complicate it. It just has to be this commonly thing that's agreed upon. We have to love each other. We got to make this work. And we're not always going to be 50-50. So whoever made that, scratch it, throw it out the window. There's some times where I'm 70 and you're 30. There's times when you're 90 and I'm 10. So we have to pour into each other. So that's what creates the balance.
So you were talking about space, Jason, and when we were in the after party, one of the ladies said, brothers are not, I'm not going to say all, but many men are not creating a space for women to allow women to even be feminine, like to allow their feminine to flourish. Because I feel like Black women have had to like be in these roles where maybe we don't know how to code switch. Maybe we don't know how to turn off that alpha energy when we come in the household. But I just feel like I don't necessarily know if they feel that there's a safe space going on. Jamie, you shaking your head.
I think if we go back a little bit and we start thinking about how certain women were raised, and the first person that they look at is their mother. Do you want to be your mother? What attributes, qualities from her do you want to emulate? I know you're your own soul and God brought you here by yourself, but the environment that you grew up in, what do you accept from her? What do you want to allow to be your signature in a relationship? Whether it's going to class as an undergrad, whether it's going to work, what type of woman are you to where you don't have to put on certain things, but your femininity shows and permeates throughout society? I think that's really where it starts. I don't know that you can say a man needs to create a certain space, because I think if you have that type of energy as a woman, a man will be lucky to find you. I just think that if you reject some of the things that your mother grew up with, which is a lot of women do. I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to be like my grandmother. I want to be this new person. Well, this is the first real generation, maybe generation and a half, of the new modern woman. And how is that playing out? You know what I'm saying? It's getting more of a divisive type of situation, which means that the family is going this way. So unfortunately, a lot of women are incorrectable. They don't heed advice. They don't take advice. They don't take coaching or leadership from the man that they're with. And it really, really is the reality of most relationships in terms of why they're not working.
So are we all, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about that question that just popped up. Can a man lead a household if he makes less money? And I think so. I think it depends on the woman that he's with and the respect that she has for him. You know, money aside, it's who, you know, everyone has their role that they need to play. I personally prefer to be in the more submissive role. So I am looking for the opportunity, no matter what, whoever I date, to, when I reach home from work, put my penis on the table, take my Superman cape off, and be that girl to support her man. That's who I am personally. But, you know, not all relationships I've been in that I feel comfortable to do that. And unfortunately, it is some spaces that are not created, or I feel is not created, to make me feel that part of me.
So is the money, is money part of the issue? Not the money, but the success of women. You know, the thing about our generation, I call it Generation X, is like, we are the first, you know, we were, as Black women, we were taught, like, don't depend on a man. That's what was constantly told to us as daughters. My mother, I mean, my father took care of us, but I think the thing is, it's just like, you got to make sure you can take care of yourself, because you can't depend on y'all, unfortunately. And even though, we not saying that that's all of us, but a lot of us took that as, it's uncomfortable to surrender or submit because I don't feel safe that he's going to show up in the way I think he's supposed to show up.
Well, I think the and I don't know if any of the guys agree with me, but I teach my daughter to depend on herself, and she's 7. And it's because, as a man, I don't know that men today have the wherewithal and the mental toughness to be a suitable candidate down the line. And that's just the way, I mean, I see it on so many different levels. And I don't like saying this. I don't like being the one to report this, but it's the truth. Men are weaker. You know, a lot of times men talk about, we need women to be soft so you can be stronger, so we can feel stronger. No, it goes back to what I said earlier. What did you grow up seeing that enhanced your ability to accept your masculinity? And if you're clear and cool with that, you shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. But if you need your hand held, you need to be walked down and coddled and talked nice to, and then there's going to be a problem, because the woman today is not the woman of 1940 and 1950, which means she has a lot going on to where that situation makes her feel masculine if she has to do that for you. So it's a catch-22 situation. It's not ideal. Relationships are in the toilet. It is what it is.
I'm not gonna say they in the toilet, Jamie. Oh, wait, they okay. Go ahead, Whitney. You on mute again, and then Todd. Go ahead. What? You keep because you echoing, Whitney.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I just moved. This is a new house, so it's not a lot in here yet. So that's probably why it's echoing. But there's a couple things going on. One, I don't think that men are weaker. I think to some degrees, young guys may be seen as weaker, but oddly enough, a lot of those young guys are weaker because they've been raised by single women. So that's a whole thing. We can get into that. Because a lot of women won't date the sons that they're creating. They wouldn't date them because they take care of them and they do everything for them. They wash their clothes. They don't make them do anything. So they raise soft boys and then they complain about soft men. So that's a whole nother animal that I won't even get into at the moment. But what I think that people miss in our community is this. The United States is much more comfortable with Black women than Black men. The United States is also invested in the destruction of the Black family. So the United States does not like a powerful Black man. They're much more comfortable with a powerful Black woman than a powerful Black man. We see that right now in the presidency and vice presidency. So here's what's happening. They're investing in Black women in a way that they're not in Black men, which creates this financial situation that they know also creates a problem in the household. If we were smart, we would understand that and we would say, we're not going to let that be the thing that we choose in terms of how we determine relationships. So it's like women have bought into the idea that we're dope because we're getting paid. You're dope because they're deciding to pay you. You're not as dope as you think you are. You're dope if they want you to be dope and doper than your partner who happens to look like us. Oh, it can get heavy. If you want to get heavy, I can get heavy on you.
So Whitney, you're saying
giving you more jobs that make you feel powerful. But instead of saying, me just having a job where I make a good amount of money and I'm comfortable makes my life what I want it to be, they should be saying, you know what? I always wanted to be a mother. I wanted to raise kids. I wanted to have a family. The money is cool, but I still want to be the kind of woman that a man would want to be with apart from the money. The problem is that social media and that lifestyle thing kicks in and everybody wants to be rocking an Hermes bag. And, you know, I want to be on these trips. I want to pop bottles. I want to be fly. And that supersedes what a relationship is about because there's no love in that. That's why, like the word says, the love of money is the root of all evil, right? So if the love of your relationship is balling, your relationship is on the wrong road. Your relationship should not be based on when women say, I need my man to make six figures. Why? What is it that you want to happen in a relationship? Is the relationship purely a financial construct, or is it about somebody that you love and care about? If you led with that, I think they would be more successful. It really is that simple.
So as you got, some of you all are single. I know, Whitney, you're married. Mm-hmm. And more than ever, there's more single Black men and women than our parents, clearly, right? And so my thing is just like to help women understand. And that's why I said, you know, a lot of the femininity or feminine energy is like what's going on between us behind closed doors. What is not going on? What are we presenting? What are we not presenting? So, you know, like it's a dance. Is it not a dance to a certain extent? Because we ain't gonna stop making money. We ain't gonna stop not earning. We're not gonna stop doing those things. We're not. I mean, that the train has left the station.
On purpose.
How do we come together? Like, what do y'all want? What does respect at this age look for?
I can help you out. I can answer it in one sentence. Don't lead with money. Women will don't lead with what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? You're leading with money. You're leading with money. Guys don't lead with money. Guys can see a girl walking down the street. And we talked about this on another podcast, but the girl could work at McDonald's or the girl could work at, Smith Klein. Either way, if the guy finds her attractive and she's pleasant and appealing, he'll want to go out with her. Women don't do that. Women are like, well, what do you do? You might be cool, but what do you do? because you have to make a certain amount of money. And if you lead with money, you're leading with the wrong thing, which is why so many women are not winning.
So I have a poll.
Stop.
Hold on. So for all of y'all on there, how many women have you met within the first 30 minutes? That's what they asked.
All of them. Every one of them.
Corey said facts. So
I don't meet women that like that.
You don't meet women like that.
I mean, I don't know that I've ever met a woman within 30 minutes that asks me what I do.
Yeah, who's
what?
I'm
gonna be serious.
Where are these women that are asking those questions?
All women ask people what they do off top. That's like the first question.
But hold on. So I
have to agree with Whitney. When women talk to women, what's the first question they ask them? What does he do?
That has nothing to do with the fact of the one-on-one interaction that you're. I don't know, brother. I mean, that's just me. I don't meet women that come at me like, "What do you do for a living?"
Where do you live?
Huh? Within 30 minutes?
Huh?
I mean, we get around to it at some point during the front part during the conversation, but it's not like the first 2 or 3 things that come out of their mouths normally with me.
In DC, in New York, in LA, in Brooklyn, in Atlanta, what do you do for a living? Is the first or second question. After your name, it's what do you do?
Well, go to Miss Story or something. I don't know.
Different.
So basically, you're saying Whitney and Todd, you're saying the size up is not feminine. I call it the size up, like what you do. Who are you? Who do you know?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying, listen, if you're looking for someone who is as educated as you, who is, I don't know, call it on your level, what have you. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me, what goes on beyond that, right? Like what is the next question beyond that? If I am, as Whitney was talking about on the last podcast, we were talking about someone who said, I would never date a bus driver, right? And the woman asked her, well, what if he owns the bus? And the point is that, do you go beyond that to find out if the person has the same values as you? Is the same person, does he level up on the same level of you in terms of your values, your person, your inner essence? And if he does, can you put aside the money? Can you put aside the material things? Can you put aside the surface shit? And if you can't, then that's about you. That's not about him.
But this, in my opinion, you guys may get that. I don't know if it's a geographical thing, whether it's an East Coast thing, or maybe it's a down south thing here in Texas. But maybe, just maybe, your presentation and how you come across in terms of meeting a woman will draw that type of response.
No, wrong. No, it's not it. It's not it. It has nothing to do with how guys come across. Women in high.
Wait. As a woman,
where people are making things happen. I don't know what's happening in the South, but in DC, Philly, New York, Atlanta, LA, any city where there's people making real money and making moves, they want to know what you do. I'm calling you an outlier if women are not asking what you do. That is the weirdest thing I've heard in eons. Let me always want to know what people do.
Let me enlighten you on this. Maybe take this angle if you really want to get busted down on this thing.
You could never bust me down. I know women want to bust you down. You could never do it. You could never do it.
2 seconds.
I'm operating
Go ahead, Jamie.
Well, let me do it in 2 seconds.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Here's the thing, brother. Here's the thing. This is apples and oranges, what we talking about.
Okay.
First and foremost, I don't go at women with the expectation that it's a transactional situation, whether it's I'm here because you're beautiful. I've met beautiful women all my life. My energy is different. I'm telling you straight up as a grown man that I can't remember the last time in 30 minutes to an hour that I met a woman and she was pointed in her question of asking me what I do for a living. Now, let me tell you why. I present a philosophical point of view in conversation. It revolves around non-surface type of shit. So maybe if you come across in a way that is like, hey, how you doing, ma'am? My name is Trent, and I live on the east side of Manhattan, and blah blah blah. Hold on.
No, I don't. Let me back you up. Hold on. Let me back up a little. Listen, you guys are talking apples to oranges, right? Because I live in New York, right? In New York, you don't go to dinner parties. You go out. All of your social interactions are out somewhere with folks, and you're trying to get to know each other. They're not at very rarely at within a reference point. Meaning, like in Texas, you probably more than likely go to somebody's house and meet people, and so they have a reference point for you. And so the first question is not what do you do, because they look around the room and who you're with, and they don't need that. They don't need to ask that question. In New York, in DC, in sort of Northeast metropolitan areas, that's not your first social interaction. It is out somewhere where you don't have a reference point. And so I understand why women ask the question. It is not a bad question in and of itself. The question is, what is the purpose of the question? That's the real essence.
What do y'all feel the purpose of the question is?
The whole energy behind that question is, I don't want to waste my time with somebody who's not going to measure up to my.
I don't believe in that. I don't think that. That's not my thing off the bat with people. It's not. What do you do? What do you do? Where'd you go to school, or who do you know? Is not right off the bat. It doesn't snap me into you are that kind of person. It snaps me into you're trying to create a reference for me, right? I'm not going to waste my time with a motherfucker who's a serial killer, all right? So I need a reference point for you.
But it's still money. It's money. It is money.
But it's not always money, brother, because
it is money. I'm going to tell you
why. You understand in DC, right? You live in DC, right?
I live in Philly now, but I've lived in DC.
Okay, I'm from Philly. I'm from Philly. You lived in DC.
All right.
What you do is not the first question in DC. The first question in DC is where the fuck you went to high school. Who you know, right? Because don't nobody make no money in DC. So they ask, so who do you know? What do you do? That kind of thing is about what your social circle is. It ain't really about money.
DC in the 90s, 2000s. What do you do? And let me tell you why this.
Philly's not that way, because Philly's a blue collar town. So I'm from Germantown. I grew up in Germantown. I go back to Philly every month. I understand the evolution of Philly now, but it still ain't New York, right? You understand that? Ain't nobody making money like they are in New York unless they're you're in a particular field.
That's a different question. Let's move on. What I'm saying to you is,
talk about money. When they're talking about money,
it is about money. When they say, what do you do for a living? It's about money. Because if you say, I drive a bus, that's a determination you're going to make. If you say I play in the NBA, that's going to financial determination you'll make. If you say I'm a neurosurgeon, there's a financial determination. Every occupation has a financial kind of window. People want to know where that window is.
You saying
women in 2023 want to know how much you make. If you're saying you're not hearing that, you ain't in the streets, because the streets is about paper.
So let's bring it back.
I don't think that's a lie. I just don't think that's the entire truth,
brother.
I think there's a certain segment of women who are trying to understand who you are before they invest their time with you.
So where did the six figures conversation come from then?
Exactly.
So
money.
Where does it come from?
Let's bring it back.
They always say he got to make six figures. It's about money.
They? Who the fuck is they?
Women.
You haven't heard that in the last. Who the fuck is they?
Bro,
you haven't heard that in the last 10 years?
Relax, dude.
I'm just asking who is
Don't
that?
tell me to relax, man. Come on. Either get your weight up or don't talk.
So
it's always about money.
When a woman asks that question, does it take away from her femininity?
Can we bring it back?
I don't think it takes away from a woman's femininity. What I'm saying is, the answer to that question and how you handle that determines kind of what you're about. Perfect example was that bus driver conversation. Now, she, in her mind, a bus driver makes X amount of dollars, and a bus owner supposedly should make Y amount of dollars.
Right.
So
her comment was about money,
about what it pays. And if you're leading with what it pays,
then why you?
If
It's not about money, then why are you bringing it up, Todd?
What do you? Hold on. Stop. One at a time. What are you asking, my brother?
I'm asking you a simple question. You keep talking about not about money, but yet you keep
No. I said what I said was.
Let me ask you the question, man. Relax. What I'm telling you is this: you keep saying it's not about money. It's genuine commentary.
I didn't say that.
But yet you keep talking about New York is the place to make money.
I didn't say that. Well, don't misquote what I said and then try to make a point behind a misquote. What I said was, it is about the intent behind the question. There are some women who ask the question because it is a pecuniary question. It is about how much you make. There are other women who are trying to make a reference point about you. Who do you know? What sector of life are you in?
So it's either about the social circles and who you know, and the social constructs in which you move in.
So they can have a reference point for you, or it is what Whitney is talking about. It is about how much do you make, and are you worth my time because you do or do not make whatever my base level is. I never said it ain't about the money.
Okay, so can we move from the money? Well, let's move from the money. The question, y'all triggered by that question. So highly triggered. To help not to help the sisters out, but we want to understand your point of view, like I said, because there's a lot of single women in this group, in my age group, who are trying to figure out what does this whole feminine energy thing mean and how it really shows up. Even after we meet someone, and how we not even maintain it, but how does the relationship maintain itself with your masculine energy and our feminine energy trying to come together so we can create an understanding. So I always just like for you guys, like, what is it that makes you even get past the conversation around what you do and whatever that conversation is different for Jamie, is different for Todd, is going to different for Whitney, different for Jason. What makes you to be like, I want to know more? What does her energy got to look like for you that you want to know more about her? Okay, now
I'll jump in if nobody wants to jump in.
Go ahead.
I would venture to say I probably dated more women than everybody on the panel combined.
Whitney, what does
combined? and you can probably throw in a few more guys.
Go ahead, Whitney.
I think I'm an expert on it. I'm an expert.
I'm sure all of y'all are in your own right. Can you answer the question? You got your dick on the table and swinging it around.
No, I'm saying I'm an expert on this whole dating, what works and what doesn't work. I'm gonna answer the question. If you are pleasant and you're appealing and your conversation is interesting, guys will want to date you. If you are single-minded on what is he going to do for me, if you are too focused on yourself, if you're self-centered, if you are doing things that, and this is what I think has women twisted up in the last, say, 10 years, the silo. Because women go to other women to say, well, what is he saying? He tripping. And they go, yeah, girl, he tripping. The best thing that happened to dating in the last 10 years was Kevin Samuels.
Oh my God. Okay.
The best thing that happened in the last 10 years was Kevin Samuels. Because Kevin Samuels came on his show and said, listen, if you are a 6 Your life should be based on what you get when you're 6. If you look like Sierra or Beyonce, you're probably going to date guys who can carry that. So part of it is people are punching way above their weight class. They out kicking their coverage. Women are looking for something that they are not going to get. So you got women who are 40 trading on ass when the guy that they want that's making paper is going to take the girl that's 25. See, I can get it. I can really get into it if you want to get into it.
I want us to go to the edge because women want to.
I'm going to tell you a lot of things that women are getting wrong. You overrating yourself. Like if you're 40 and you're nice body, you're competing with a girl that's 25 and a nice body. And the girl that's 25 is going to go out with the guy that's 50 that you would go out with. Because now they're like, the guy at 50 got paper and he can take me to a restaurant that the guy that's 25 wouldn't. So it's not just that, where are you? It's also, are you competing in a different world now? You in the streets with 25-year-olds now. At 40, 45, and 50, and so it's hard on the yard. That's the first thing you got to accept. And if you do that, you'll stop blaming the men right off top. Because it's not the men, it's the market.
Okay, thank you, Whitney. Gentlemen, anybody?
I forgot the question.
You want to know what's going on?
I said, what? I keep saying, I said, Lord have mercy. All right.
Got the question.
The question originally is we are trying to gain understanding of how we can make, once we get past all the intros and you're in the throes of it, what is keeping y'all there? What is making you go further?
I'll say one last thing before.
Wait.
I'm gonna say one last thing.
What?
I would bet that most women, say you're appealing, you're 40, attractive, you'll say,
we're
40 to 50,
45 and above.
Black woman, 40 to 50, right? Somewhat attractive, decent career. Say you got all that going on, right? Mm-hmm. When you go out on a date, do you go out on a date and say, I want to be appealing? Because see, when guys go out on a date, guys have a goal. So because they have a goal, they sell themselves. Guys are like, yeah, I'm dope. I want to be interesting. I want to be funny. They trying to make it happen. If you're not doing that, if you're not selling yourself like, hey, I'm interesting, I'm a hot girl, I'm fun. If you're not doing that, if you're just sitting back trying to be impressed, you're going to take an L. Because people, and I think that's part of what happens, because you get comfortable in the idea that I'm popping, I'm 40, I work here, I make this amount of money, I drive this kind of car, I'm in this sorority, I'm doing this, I'm wearing this dress, I got this. And if you come to it with that, impressed by yourself, your aim on a date is not going to be to impress him, and he's going to leave the date going, yeah, she all that, but nah.
Okay,
I want the one that's interested in me. So are you dating and being impressive to your date across the table? When was the last time somebody asked women that?
Hey, can I finish the question for the other men?
When was the last time somebody asked a woman that, though?
Okay, hold on, gentlemen. Lord have mercy, Jamie. Jamie, Jason. What is? Let me start. Jason just like look at it like Lord have mercy. Jason, real quickly, what is the thing after, because I know you're going through some things now. What are you looking for now at this age? Because I think everybody here is at least over 45 and up. Go ahead.
Right, I'll be 50 next year. I really look at character, and it could be a setting where you're with a certain group. And with me, honestly, I've never gotten initially, what do you do? I mean, like it was said before, it comes up later on. But the most part, people look is who you're with and why you're there. If you're there, like you and I were there at Deborah's party, and if you are there, pretty much that is a testament of your character. Because if you're a bad character, you're not going to be there, because that's good energy. You understand? So that says a lot about you from the start. Only when the female, approaches or the approach, it's an energetic conversation that happens. So sometimes what you say and your actions can be contradictory. And as a man, a balanced man, a dominant, balanced man, your word has to be iron. You have to be a man of your word. And for women, I think with them, they want to understand that there is security behind a man and what he says and what he does. That has to match up.
Okay.
And once she feels comfortable with that, then the floodgates will open. And
Okay.
I feel that a lot of times when you start presenting, I got this, I got that, because we can always talk about our strengths. I got this accolade, I got this degree, this certificate. It's nothing but a piece of paper, because we got, doctors who have terrible bedside manners. We got attorneys who are arrogant. We got, judges who rule unfairly. But it's your experience and it's your character that comes behind that. And if you can get past the glitz and the glamour and see a person for who they are, then we can talk somewhere. Talk about where your weaknesses are. What do you need support in? What do I need help in? Me, I'm a man, and I know that I'm rigid at times. So I need that soft and sweet. I need that one female to speak that life into me sometimes. Even though I do know it myself, sometimes it's good to hear that confirmation. So that's where the balance occurs.
I like that, Jason. I like that. Jamie and then
Todd. That's a good question. I look at it like this. It's really simple for me. Aesthetically, we wouldn't be here if we weren't attracted to each other. Let's just put that to the side. What I feel like is going to help both of us is to find out where we're weak at. In other words, if you're giving off masculine energy, you're probably mad about something that you haven't figured out yet. I mean, that's what I think most women who are masculine they're coming up short somewhere. And if they've been inadvisable or uncoachable in the past, it's still with them. So they carry it from relationship to relationship. What most guys after 45 do is they assess the situation as is. They decide whether or not they want to even pursue it, because you get bumped down. You go from wifey you may go from a first round pick all the way down to a free agent, depending on what the situation is. So at the end of the day, to kind of keep it short, because I know we're up against time, I think it comes down to what I do well and what I do not so well. And can you complement and make my weaknesses stronger? Can I make your weaknesses more palatable? Can we work together and create a team to where
Wait. You said, can you make your weaknesses stronger and ours more palatable?
I said that wrong.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm calling you on it, Jamie.
Can you help make my weaknesses better?
Okay.
Can I make your weaknesses better? Whatever you're mad about and walking around all masculine about, I'm gonna figure it out real quick whether or not I can help or I can't, because that's what men will do. They'll just recategorize you, just like women friend zone guys, guys friend zone women. So at the end of the day, can we come together, and is the positive outgonna do the negatives?
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
All right. Jamie, we losing light on you. We can't see that face of yours. Todd. What can we, once you get past the intro?
So
go ahead.
I agree with Jason, and I think he had a really good point to sort of kick off this conversation. Is we're overcomplicating this, right? What is attractive about a man when he comes to you? He's probably genuine, right? He's asking you about you. He's interested in you. You feel that energy. That's what men are attracted to. We're all just human beings. We all want the same thing, and we just want it on in different energy levels. So like what any man wants is a woman who comes and is actually interested in him. So if that means she is talking about what he does, but she's genuinely interested in it, it doesn't bother the man. But if she has other motives, then that's going to bother him. So the point is like, what is her energy when she comes to you? You understand it. It's intuitive. You get it. You're attracted to it. And then you can move from there. And then there's a certain sense of, as you start to date, are you accountable? Are you unselfish? Do you care what happens to me in this day rather than me just caring what happens to you in that day?
So somebody in Tanera asks, so a man can be weak and we should accept it.
It's not about being weak. I like that Manichaean dualism is just it kills me, man. I hate that shit. Like, why does it have to be weak or strong or like this zero-sum game that we play in these relationships? It is when you are 70, I might be 30. So give me something. Come get me. Right? When you are down and you had a bad day, I'm gonna come get you. Like that is what makes long-term relationships work. If you look at all the people that are single versus all the people that are married and they got long-term relationships, they don't talk in these dualistic terms. Weak, strong, all this. We find in our vulnerability, we find weakness in our strengths.
So you don't have strengths or weaknesses?
Of course I do, brother. That's not
what
the
talking
point.
about. What are you talking about?
Can I jump in? Can anybody hear me?
What the
Yeah, brother, go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is he talking about when you say
all right, let me say this, and the idea of somebody saying, so can a man be weak and we have to deal with it, whatever. I don't even know where they're coming from, because what is the assumption that a man is weak? That's where I'm getting at. What I'm saying is all these women who are single, and there's a lot, are going to remain single.
What do you mean with a lot?
There's a lot of black women that are single, right? A huge amount. They're going to stay single. You know why? Because they're not listening. People are responding by saying things like, oh, if he weak, I just got to deal with it. Oh, if I'm balling and he not, I just got to shut up because you're not listening. The point is, if you're leading with money and accomplishment, you're doing it wrong. And you're going to continue to do it wrong, and you're going to stay single. So when I be trying to drop science and I'm sounding like I'm popping off, I'm trying to help, but people ain't trying to hear me. What I'm saying to you is, are these women, these same single women, going out saying, how can I be the most appealing person on a date? No, they're not saying that. They're saying, how can I get what I want? How can I find this thing that I want? This guy with all this money that's going to take me here and do this and do that. And it's all a self-centered conversation. You're not going to win with that premise. You need to leave the house thinking, I want to be a entertaining, fun, appealing, conversational person that somebody would like to be around. They're not doing that because they too high on themselves. And these are the girls that Kevin Samuels would be like, yeah, you popping like you were 10 and you were 6 talking trash. Go sit down somewhere.
The truth of the matter is,
there's a legion of women out there, black women out there right now doing that.
If you are
so
single,
dope.
if you're single, 100% of your relationships at some point has failed. You cannot go on through life thinking that you are strong and almighty and have no weaknesses.
All right, so Jamie, I'm gonna ask you what you were asking me. I'm gonna ask you, ask your question, but I'm gonna say this to you once. Don't cuss at me, bro.
I apologize. I apologize for that.
When I have a respectful conversation, let's have a respectful conversation between two men.
Have that 19,
Don't
11
fucking
on, so
be cussing me if you want a respectful conversation, brother.
Time out, y'all. Time out, y'all.
Okay, gentlemen. Come on, Jamie. So Jamie, finish your point, and then
okay.
Ty.
So let me go on record since I did cuss him publicly. Let me apologize to him publicly. Todd, I apologize for cursing at you. I'm sorry. However,
ask your question, and I can answer it. I can answer it intellectually, and we can have an intellectual conversation.
Absolutely.
Let's continue. Come on.
What I'm saying is, if you are single, that includes any person that's on this panel, your relationships have failed. If you don't do any introspection and look at yourself as part of the problem and know that you have been weak at times in relationships, or you have attracted weak people who you have not been able to solve or build up to a point to where you're still together, you're gonna have to look at yourself as part of the problem. That's all I'm saying. So
what was your question, though? I don't understand your question because you're saying the same thing.
I'm saying the same thing as you?
Yes. You just don't listen,
okay,
bro.
Brother, listen.
Okay. Let's bring it back.
I'm not here to fight. Okay?
We're not
I'm here to help women have better relationships.
Yeah. I don't want to fight, bro. I mean,
I respect you. I'm just saying, let's have a respectful conversation.
Yeah.
I really
within the context of a very sensitive,
So I think
plethora of subcontext.
Yeah.
Yes, the masculine energy is real.
It's real. Now. And can I say just can I say something really quick? I just wanted to say thank you to the guys for telling us all of these little nuggets and secrets, etc. We really do sometimes go to our girlfriends, and our girlfriends are our cheerleaders, and we are going down the wrong path, and they're cheering us on, saying, "Oh, girl, you're dope." This, that,
a Sierra person.
And say that again.
This person keeps coming. They're asking me, what do I lead with? I only hear you lead with money and charisma to get ass. No, I lead with charisma to get life. You sound like the women you're talking about. Here's what I've done in my years. I've slept with 1 million chicks. Yeah, I did. Met them out, hung out, made them feel good, knocked them off. Why? Because I was charismatic and I was cool as a fan. Learn to be cooler and more appealing and more fun and more enjoyable, and you'll have better results.
So can I ask a question? So, as mature men, not men of 30 or 40, all y'all Negroes are 50 or over 50 or approaching 50, right? What at this point, what makes you fall for her and possibly willing to marry her now?
Everything I said. Be more pleasant, be more appealing, be more enjoyable, be more humorous, be a better person to be around rather than looking at the outside saying to a guy, what are you going to do for me? Women are not, nobody's telling women that.
Well, Whitney, y'all are also, the outside is what I think a lot of y'all are going straight to the outside of women.
I start with the outside. You're right.
Y'all start with the outside.
But because, and this is another thing that I would say to women that y'all not trying to hear. Here's what happens. Women go out and women want that small percentage of guys, right? So I'm 6'3", and I make money and my shit's fly. So it's way easier for me to knock them all down than the guy that's not. And I've used that my whole life and knocked them all down. And so when I say I can speak to this, I'm telling you why I can speak to this. And what I'm saying is, if this huge group of women want this small group of guys, then this huge group of women is going to end up single. So instead of this huge group of women saying, maybe he could be 5'11", and maybe instead of 110 or 170, he could make 90. Or maybe if he is 5'10", I'm cool if he makes 70, but he's nice to me. See, y'all not doing that. Y'all sitting around with each other saying, nah, he got to be 6'3", he got to make 200, he got to do this, he got to be all that, he got to take me on trips. And that small percentage of dude is knocking me down.
Whitney, I have a question. You're the only brother that's married. What made you marry her? What was it about her that made you marry her?
all right, I like really attractive women. My wife is really attractive, right? But also really nice, really pleasant, enjoy to be around, not self-centered, not focused on what are you going to do for me. And so what I'm saying is I found somebody who was dope, but who was also cool. Stop just trying to see yourself as I'm dope so people want me, but not be cool to be out on a date with. You know how many women are really good to look at but suck as a person?
Yes, there's a lot. Yes, yes.
There's a lot. But those women are sitting around with each other talking about how they know good men.
Right. So Whitney,
Right.
I think we all kind of agree with you when you talk about it that way. And you know, as I just mentioned, you know, sometimes we as girls are our own cheerleaders, and it's good to hear from the opposite side and the opposite sex. So thank you guys for giving us that insight so that you know, we can understand a little bit more what we need to do in order to
Women need to expand their dating pool. They need to expand their pool, lower their standards, not saying that their standards are correct in the first place. That's where the Kevin Samuels thing comes in at. Bring your standards back to reality. Have realistic standards. I won't say lower, but have realistic standards. Open that dating pool up and be more appealing. Not just how you look, but also be funny, be friendly, be pleasant, be, you know, accommodating.
Interesting. So Todd, I know you are single and probably a very eligible bachelor. Look, I'm just putting your business out there, Todd. He like, girl, why you putting my business out there? You and Jamie. What is it now? If you met a mature woman, a woman of our age, what would make you be like, okay, she's it? What does it take for you at this point? Do you know?
Yeah, of course I know. I mean, I agree that aesthetically she would have to be attractive to me. That doesn't mean she needs to be worldly attractive, but I need to find her attractive. I need to roll over in bed in the morning and be like, damn, like I like her, right? Just physically. Two, there needs to be accountability. Like there needs to be a certain amount of like, you know what, I fucked up, and I come to you and apologize to you for me not being in the right space at the right time or talking to you in the right way. Three, I think there needs to be an unselfishness. There needs to be a direct understanding that we are always going to be looking for the mutually beneficial solution to whatever issue there is. So that when my man talked about earlier about like, yo, if there's conflict between two people, I never think about it as a zero sum, situation. There is it might be 80% my issue that time, 20% hers, but the next time it might be, a 60-40 deal and it's hers. But that's a living flow. And it can't be like, if you get fixed, we'll be all right. There has to be a kind of, revolving pendulum. And then I just, for me, I agree with Whitney. Like, you just have to want to be committed to being enjoyable. Like when I come home, I'm gonna lay my shit down, all the stuff that I dealt with all day. I'm gonna commit to being enjoyable to my mate when I walk through the door, and I need that from mine.
Okay, all right. Jamie,
why you think you always hear what women won't put up with?
Wait, Whitney, let me get to the
Good.
Go ahead, Jason and Jamie, and then we'll come back, Whitney. Lord have mercy. Continue. This is gonna go on for 2 hours.
Go ahead,
huh?
Jason can go.
Go ahead, Jason. What about you, Jason?
Ask the question again, please.
I said at this point, I know you're going through things, but what would make you go around the merry-go-round again? If you what does she need to have at this point in your life for you to commit?
Well, I mean, I'll go ahead and put it out there, and I'm transparent. I'm going through divorce litigations now. 14 years married, going on 15 years. and nothing that I did wrong. But where I stand at this point is I know from the opposite of what I experienced that that's not what I want. So I'm able to pretty much decipher what is and what isn't. So at this point, I could be bitter, but I'm not. And a lot of people ask me, how am I still holding on? How am I still able to maintain a lifestyle by myself, still raise my daughters, and be who I am? And I would say that my answer is always remaining in my masculinity in this pandemic of weak, emasculated so-called men, because a lot of men aren't stepping up to the plate and remaining in their masculinity. I give an example, and I'm kind of veering on topic for a quick second just to make a point. If you have feminine energy, which is dynamic, very unpredictable, sometimes it's explosive, it comes out of nowhere, sporadic, and you have a man supposed to be masculine, and she's yelling, going up the chain, and the man starts yelling, going up the chain, you no longer have man and woman. You got two females.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
So I feel that there's a position for everybody to stay in. You know, we got to stay in a certain lane. And when a woman feels grounded, that she can come in, she can let out all of her anxieties, her talks, and whatever secrets is to a man. He remains in his position. He holds his frame. Then there's a trusted space.
Yeah.
And at the same time, a man can release to his woman. And, you know, there's certain times where we, you know, can shed a tear, we can show emotion, but not to the point where it really shows weakness, where he can't really lead a society. You should be able to drop a man, a balanced dominant man, anywhere on this planet, and he come out with a civilization. He should be able to thrive there, create there, make something. And that's what a woman wants to see. So with me, I want to see the softness of a woman. And I think with me and my character, that's what I demand without saying, and that's what really comes to me. I don't really get the, you know, the erratics, you know, the kind of crazies. I don't attract those. So I think your character really speaks for itself before you even speak a word. It's energetic. People can feel it.
Okay.
So can I just ask a quick question, because I'm hearing an overall theme, and Jason, I just want to say thank you for your service to the country. And I mean, is it the overall idea that a lot more women are disagreeable than men? Is that the okay? Just wanted to understand that.
Jamie.
And what?
Yes.
Go ahead.
What'd you say?
No, you want to finish, Sunshine?
No, I just wanted to understand, because the general, I keep hearing like a general theme of I want to come home and not battle. So it just always sounds like there is a battle at home waiting.
Yeah. So here's the thing. So that's what I was saying earlier about what are you mad about? Because to be disagreeable is to be mad or at odds with something. And a lot of times what women are disagreeable about predates you. And since they haven't dealt with it in the past, it keeps coming up in relationship after relationship. And they may be a pretty package. They may have a great job, but they're not relatable, maybe past the point to where you can actually build a life together and sustain it over the years. So that's the first and foremost thing. I mean, you can meet somebody today or tomorrow. Let's be honest. I mean, you got a good job. You can go out and go places where you meet frat brothers or sorority sisters, and you guys can come together, like minds, meet each other, click, go out on a couple of dates, and then you're gonna find out what you're gonna find out about the person, whether or not they can stick around past the first year or so. Because as quiet as kept, the average woman who is 40 years old and above, very, very hard to keep their attention, because men tend to want to kind of settle and get into a routine. And depending on what she has going on in life, whether it's, I know women who have had a series of divorces within their friendship. And if you got 5 women and 3 of them have had a divorce, there's pressure on the other 2 not necessarily to stay in that marriage. So if you still want to be a part of this rat pack of friends, this chances are you may be on your way out. And like my man Jason said, wasn't his fault. He sounds like a man that has been hit with a sledgehammer and didn't see it coming. So I sympathize with that. I don't say that I understand it because I've never been married to experience it. But I will say that there is an energy out there for divorce. And it's unlike any time that we've ever lived in, from the time that we were kids to the time we're now.
So look, my mama said, I'm a child of divorced parents. And my mother always said, divorce is never just one person's fault. It's both people's fault. Everybody has something that they own in it. And so whatever it was a break because it's a relationship, right? So whatever it is, even if you chose wrong, whatever it is, I don't know. I've never been married, but I do believe that. Now, whatever. So continuing. We are actually over time. We're way over time. But the one, because we could do a part 2, 3, 4, and 5 on this. Lord have mercy. But the one thing I always want to do at the end of it is always in these conversations, especially when they're heavy like this, because y'all brothers I feel the energy tonight. Y'all took us to the edge. Lord have mercy. I want to do, what do you think? Y'all got 20 seconds to answer these questions. And y'all, I'm going to actually add some of the questions I had earlier. The first one, can women be alpha and feminine at times?
Yes.
They can. Okay.
Yes.
How does that look for you?
For me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, alpha, I think a lot of times women are born alphas, just like men are. But I think that if you know yourself, and the whole thing is know thyself, then you know how to control yourself in certain situations. And part of being an alpha is knowing how to follow as well. So, I mean, she can give and she can take. She doesn't have to be in a demonstrative type of position all the time.
Is that the women y'all prefer, the alpha and feminine? Because I think I'm not going to say, I feel like that's my goal. Because I am an alpha personality. I'm an alpha woman. But my goal is to always try to, I'm not going to say I always stay in my feminine energy. But when it comes to my man,
the prototypical alpha female is Claire Huxtable.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that what y'all are drawn to as men?
She's very feminine too, so she's very supportive, and she's probably the best mom in TV history. So I'm supportive of that.
Okay, all right. Thank you. How much does appearance play into femininity for y'all? You're on mute, Whitney.
Still on mute? Am I still on mute?
Not on mute.
All right. I'm gonna answer, but then I got a jet.
Okay.
I would say that I like powerful women. I like beautiful women. I also like women that are fun and enjoyable to be around. And I would just say, if there were 1 million guys and women had access to 1 million guys, there would still be 1 million single women, because the 1 million women only want some small percentage of that 1 million guys. That's the current problem. The current problem is the crop of men available is not big enough for the taste of what women want. Until somebody deals with that, they're going to be sitting here 10 years and 20 years and 30 years and 40 years from now. Because women have decided that only a select group of men are not weak, not corny, not unworthy, not broke, not So they've taken that million men down to probably like 80,000. And so as long as that's the case, it's going to be this situation. Because you live in a country that has decided that black men are enemy number one. And people are not thinking about that. You can't be a black woman dating black men in America and not think about the condition of black men in America. Because you then start to think that you're so empowered and so powerful and so self-centered on yourself, you lose the plot.
Okay.
So you can be out here being beautiful and powerful and successful with no man and get bopped in the head walking down the street.
Whitney, hold on. I got a couple more questions. Just 20 seconds. You can stay on for 3 minutes. Give me 3 minutes.
Okay.
Quick question, gentlemen. What is the difference between a leadership or leading and controlling? For y'all.
Two different things. I mean, you can lead quietly, you can lead loudly, you can lead by example. I think control is a real problem. And speaking to that same small percentage of men that the women want, a lot of that small percentage are assholes. A lot of them are real controlling because the guy who only rules by his money tends to be the most controlling guy out of all of them. He's the guy saying, don't wear that, don't go there, don't do this, don't hang out with her, sit your ass down. That's why you see a lot of NBA and NFL players whooping their girlfriends' asses, girlfriends and wives, because they got the money and the power, and so they wield that money and power. So it's one of them be careful what you ask for things. If you was kicking it with the bus driver making his 80, he chilling, treating you nice, but you want the dude that want to whoop your ass. But I done said enough.
Hold on, wait, don't go nowhere. Todd, how do women know that a man respects them?
How do men know that a man respects them?
How do women know that a particular man, that you respect them? What does that look like for them?
I think he shows up for them. It's actually a really good question, but I think it's the same. It's reciprocal. So it's for me, it means I show up for you. It means that if you call me, I make time for you. It means that I put energy and effort into it. If I'm not putting any energy and effort into it, I probably don't respect you. If I'm not pretty much calling you back, if you got to beg me, I'm probably not respecting you. Right? You shouldn't have to like beg me for a compliment or for me to do things. I'm probably just going to do them because I do want to do them for you.
I think this is a common question. When a man says he's always busy to a woman, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Should she believe him, or
I'm always busy?
You're always like he never has.
I ain't got no time for you. It means I got no time for you.
It means I'm not interested.
All right. It means I have no time for you. I mean, listen to what he's saying.
Okay. All right. Because I've heard a lot of women be like, well, he's really busy and he doesn't have time and blah, blah, blah.
I'm putting it to the kaleidoscope.
He's busy with other women. That's where he is. He's busy with women that are not her.
Okay.
Well, he's just not into you. That's it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. And what finally, we're gonna take it back to God rest his peace. What is the difference between low value and high value, of low value versus a high value woman to you guys? What makes her worth it? What makes her not worth it? As Jamie said, levels to it. You the good time girl, you the such and such girl, you're the wife.
For me, it's
a wife. A wife is a gift. A wife is, especially in today's age, a rare thing with all of the defection going on. But just simply put, I think a woman who knows herself, knows her strengths, uh, uh, is understanding of what she needs to get better at. Since a lot of you guys don't like weaknesses, she needs to get better. She's striving to get better, and she's supportive, you know, and feminine.
Okay.
I think a low value woman is a taker, and there's a lot of takers out there.
What do you mean? You taking what? At this age,
whatever they can get. It's take me out to dinner. It's take me to Cancun. It's take me to here. It's take me there. But it's rarely, here's what I'm giving you. Maybe some ass. I mean, the internet is flooded with it. It's hot girls everywhere that you see all over on trips and all that, but you never see the guy. Where's the guy? Somebody's taking the photo in the hotel room. Who's taking the photo? It's a guy, but it's a different guy this week than it was next week, and a different guy the week after that. So they're getting what they can get, and that's the future that they're, that's what it's going to be. Because if you're into just money and things and possessions, then that's what you're going to get, and nothing else.
And then what about the girl who's been the girlfriend for 10 years that y'all just don't want to marry? What's that about?
You should have tapped out earlier than 10 years. Don't stay that long. If you stayed that long and you waited, that was on you. Yeah, you took the L, but you were complicit in the L. 10 years, if it's 10 years and he ain't proposing or you bugging.
How long is too long to stay?
Long enough to realize he ain't
diminish in your own mind.
Say that again, Todd.
When your self-worth diminishes in your own mind, like what is your delineation of your own self-worth?
That's a good answer.
That might be a week. It might be a month. It might be 2 years.
A lot of times girls will say, I was with a guy a long time, and then he got married pretty quick with the next girl. That happens fairly often.
Why is that?
I can tell you exactly what that is. What it is some guys love certain girls one way, but another girl another way. And if the guy doesn't love you like it's the end of the world, I can't be without you. Not that nutty, I'm outside your window shit. But I mean, I really love you a different way, then keep it moving. Because he might love you. He might think you're appealing and beautiful and like to hit it, but he's not, I'm going to still keep my feet out here.
So, to Whitney's point, you understand how a brother loves you. Like,
Yeah.
Like I mean, men know how a woman cares for him. They know it up front, right? They know if she's just trying to use him. They know if she is there for him. They know if she's a ride or die. So
you gotta trust your intuition.
Yeah, but you just decide to put it through your own kaleidoscope and come out with the vision you want.
Okay, all right. And then finally
for the finally time, or finally for the first or the second time? Finally, I gotta go.
Give me. I think actually that is it. That is it. What was our best comment, Sunshine?
When you like, I'm the only person on here married. I got to go.
All right, I got.
We got to review
that. Will not be in the after party, gentlemen. Can y'all? I know Jason's driving home. Jamie and Todd, can y'all join us for a little bit and the after party, just for a little bit? A little bit. Okay. All right. Well, you know what? What was our best comment, Sunshine?
I think it came from Tanera, the one that made everybody a little triggered.
What was it? Tanera, we got to send you a gift card. Pull it up. Do you remember it?
I think it's the one where she said about angry or something like that.
You talk about when she said, well, if men are weak, we supposed to just deal with it or whatever.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? What's weak?
All right.
Yeah, that's the comment.
Next week we're doing what is masculine energy, the women, her point of view. Y'all better watch.
Listen, all the masculine energy was
Jason, thank you for sharing and being honest and transparent and so on and so forth.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Drive home safely. Whitney, congratulations on your new crib. Todd on the other side, Jamie, and of course, my sunshine. Thank you guys. This was real. This was good and real. Lord have mercy. See y'all in the after party. The after party is in the Facebook group, and we will I'll talk to y'all later. Peace. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Join Stacked After Hours, The Spot, where grown men and women gather to have candid, also honest discussions about the state of life, love, and more. The Spot is a hybrid of in-person and weekly virtual gatherings. Join our Facebook group and answer our daily questions. Subscribe to our YouTube for our weekly live talk shows, and join us on Zoom for our talk show after parties for lively conversations with other opinionated, grown, and sexy professionals. Just search, like, follow, and subscribe to Stack After Hours on Facebook groups and YouTube. Also like and follow our brand pages at Be Stacked Wellness on Facebook and IG. So wherever you are, at home or abroad, pull out your laptop, tablet, or smartphone and join in the conversation with the members of Stacked After Hours. The Spot by Be Stacked Wellness. See you there.
As you know, and if you are new to the Stacked family, we always keep our conversations lit and enlightening.